Hey guys, it's Charge and Hander present ZoomTheTBT. And tonight's guest is the Stillwater Stars, the alumni group from Oklahoma State. Very excited to have them in the field for the first time. And Charge, look at this bracket. That's a tough matchup with the brotherly love in the first round, isn't it?
No, that's brutal. We talked about this a little bit in some of our other podcasts, but Stillwater Stars out of 21 seems a little ridiculous, and what they earned from that is a brutal matchup against Team Brotherly Love in round one. And you know, the winner of this takes on Eberline Drive, and looking across the way, whoever comes out of that right-hand side is going to have a great matchup against the Golden Eagles. So this is a highly talented pod, and really looking forward to digging into the team and seeing how they're going to be prepared for their matchup against Brotherly Love.
Absolutely. And let's go ahead and introduce our guests. I'll stop the slides real quick and bring them all up. So you will see right there the co-GM, Jeff Barr. Jeff, good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. The head coach, Brendan Manzer. Brendan, what's going on?
Hey, not much. Hey, appreciate you having us on.
Glad to have you. And finally, the star guard, Tyshawn Taylor. Tyshawn, what's going on tonight?
What's happening, guys? Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. And we're going to go back to these slides and talk a little bit about this roster again. And, I mean, one of the key things is Tyshawn, like, talking about wearing that orange, like, how's that going to feel for you? Seriously, he tweeted about it. Like, I mean, you're all in this for money, obviously, but, like, what's that feel being a proud Jayhawk playing for these guys already, right off the bat?
I mean, I think we all know we got one goal, you know, so we understand what the goal is. So, I mean, it's just that, you know, we just going to come together and play hard and try to win some money. But, yeah, it's just funny that it happens to be an Oklahoma State team because, you know, obviously just the conference rivalry between us and just having to play against a bunch of these guys a lot. The Kansas fans were like, what are you doing? Why would you do that?
Tyshawn, can I ask you a question about that rivalry? Did you ever lose to Oklahoma State?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I think we got a clean sweep in my 4 years.
That's awesome. Well, hey, let's dig in. Go back one slide. I want to get to know a little bit about this team before we get everyone focused on the slide. But, hey, Jeff, appreciate you jumping on, co-GM of the Stillwater Stars. So what led you to start the Oklahoma State TBT team and kind of work at building a roster and getting into TBT 2020?
Yeah, I always tell people that this team kind of fell in my lap. I was contacted by Brian Nash and Brian Williams. They said that they had a bunch of guys that wanted to play. And once I agreed to do it, they put me in a group message with Markel, Michael Cobbins. There were a lot of alumni, and I just really, my core was stuck together, and we had some guys drop because of the COVID, but it was most of my core was together, and then Caleb found Tyshawn and Nadir, and the rest is history.
Yeah, no, we're looking forward to it. It looks like a fantastic roster. And so let's bring in the coach, Brendan Manzer. And so kind of an interesting year with COVID and a lot of stuff going on. So as you've seen these guys forming your team, I'm sure you had some input in it. But what were some of the unique challenges getting some guys pulled together and how you see this playing out with a limited time to prepare for TBT 2020?
Yeah, to a charge. I'm excited, and I'm smart enough to know that my job is to just kind of manage timeouts and maybe some substitutions and stay out of their way, and let particularly Tyshawn and Markel go do their thing. But you know, I'm excited. I'm an Oklahoma State guy. I also cover Big 12 basketball inside with ESPN. So obviously, Oklahoma State guys. I was around a lot when they were playing for Travis Ford and then when Tyshawn and Nadir came aboard, you know, I was excited because honestly, we didn't have point guard play until they came, and obviously have the caliber of players they are. And there are some Oklahoma State ties for Tyshawn and Nadir because their coach Bill Self.
Coach Self, yeah, he would be happy about that.
Yeah, and in fact, he survived. He recruited and signed me when Eddie Sutton was there. So Coach Self obviously flourished and overcame that bad evaluation of talent, but we love having those guys with us, Big 12 guys, and that was kind of important to us. You know, obviously we start out with an Oklahoma State roster, And things change, which it does in this tournament as we're learning with players and a little bit of turnover. But we're excited. We've got nice pieces. But as you guys understand, everybody's good. Team brotherly love, very good. I watched them and play together. They're tough. So that it'll be a tough challenge for us. But we're looking forward to coming up to Columbus and just seeing what happens.
Yeah, no, and I mean, it's interesting looking at this roster because alumni teams generally get a very interesting sort of seeding bump, usually from TBT, and often they're usually given fairly favorable matchups due to the fact you guys have a huge built-in fan base. I mean, Oklahoma State has a wonderful fan base. I know you guys are one of the biggest fan bases in the Big 12. The Heartland really loves you. And you have a lot of these guys with Big 12 guys like Taylor. My question is, do you think that you guys being a alumni team that's a first-year run, having never done it before, might have factored into your seeding? I guess that question is for Brendan.
Oh, absolutely. And, before we came on, Tyshawn was talking about how you look at all these rosters. Everybody's got guys. I mean, these are pros, and some of which have spent time in the league. The guys that we're playing, they've had very successful careers overseas and been consistently good. So, we're not looking at that as a slight. I think it'd be, number one, hard to seed these. But that's probably accurate. I mean, we're first-time entrants, and I do think, and I'm sure that having experience is important and will help you. Obviously, Tyshawn being on here, we know he's been a part of it. We're going to lean on him just to share his experiences with us when we spend those 4 days together. We're going to have lots of time to do that. But, we don't have a problem with it at all. And everybody's good, but we think we are too.
Yeah, no. So Tyshawn talked a little bit about that experience. So you are only one of two players on the Oklahoma State team that have played in the TBT. Brian Williams played one game back with the Bluegrass Boys in 2016, and then you obviously played with Self-Made last year and have 9 career games, 15 points. So what are you going to really try to impress upon the team? It's a very unique tournament, a different tournament. So what do they need to watch for coming out of the gate?
Well, I think the first thing I would try to express to the team is that summertime basketball, but it's not like a pickup game. And I think even more so now, because there's not going to be fans and stuff there, it's going to feel pickup-ish. But guys are coming to play for $1 million, so guys are going to play hard. Guys are going to play together. Guys are going to play the right way. And I've played on a couple of different teams in this tournament, and I've been in kind of different situations where I was an underdog and we ended up, kind of playing well. And I was a favorite, and we ended up losing because we, kind of got full of ourselves, or, guys kind of wanted to showcase their own talent instead of just kind of trying to win. And so I think with the Oklahoma State guys having the camaraderie that they have, and then having guys like myself and Nadir who are kind of selfless and, about the team, I think it kind of works. And I think we'll be able to, kind of gel and just kind of have the same goal in hand, which is just to try to win $1 million. And it's not really, anything other than that, really. And I think if we can kind of understand that, we'll be fine.
A million plus. You got to get a pay raise over what Bill Self was paying in Kansas, man.
$1 million.
Good luck with that.
That Adidas money. This is a Puma tournament, Okay, no comment. Exactly. That's the correct answer, Dash. So looking at this roster, going from the stats to the lineup, and as Charles was hinting, there's a lot of there's a deficit of TBT experience, but there's a lot of talent here, a lot of overall talent. And I mean, and this is more a question for Coach Manzer, is you got a unique amount of perimeter weapons in Brown. You guys are it looks like you're adding, and you can confirm this or not, we were talking about earlier, were you guys able to add Brooks? Were you able to add Ronnie Brooks? Has that been announced?
We haven't announced it, but he's added. We're announcing it here shortly.
Hopefully by the time we're not releasing
Drop
this
the
as a
bomb.
live taping, so let us know. We'll make sure we coincide with that. So we're breaking news early, and we'll release it when you guys do it, basically. But you got Brooks, you got Brown, Forte, and Taylor. That's about as good a perimeter quartet as you can ask for in this sort of format. So Coach Manzer, how are we going to unleash all that shooting and length?
Well, again, going back to Markel and Tyshawn, I mean, their resumes speak for themselves, but they're also, and I know this, and I know way more about Tyshawn than he realizes. and obviously my relationship with Coach Self and some of the guys at Kansas.
Uh-oh.
But I know that yeah, we'll talk about that a lot up in Columbus, man. But no, they're about making the right play. I mean, they're talented. Get downhill, they can shoot it, they can distribute, but they make the right plays. And another side of it is they play both ends of the floor, and they know how important that is. And so I think it's going to work great. And then you mentioned some of those other guys. I think we have guys that can make shots. LeBron Nash has some versatility. I love Mike Cobbins because he knows how to play and plays well off those other guys and defends and those type of things. So it's my first experience too. And so, like I said, we lean on those guys that have been there a little bit to help advise us. But I'm not worried about. I know the Oklahoma State guys, and I know enough about Tyshawn and Barr that they know how to play. We know who they play for in college. And I played for him too when he's an assistant at Oklahoma State. So we'll get together for 4 days and not overthink it and let these guys go do their thing.
Yeah, so Jeff, as a GM, obviously you've been working on forming the team and working on the logistics of this. The only thing that really stood out as we were looking at this team, we talked a little bit about it before we jumped on, is a little bit of lack of size. And Hayner, you can correct me. I think we said the tallest guy was 6'8" on this team, and we know TBT historically isn't really a big man's game. So, any concerns from your standpoint with the lack of size on the roster?
Not too much. We have good rebounding guards. Brian Williams is a good rebounder. He's big. Darrell Williams, a lot of people don't know, is a really good rebounder. There's a stretch at Oklahoma State. He was averaging a double-double before all his stuff went down. And we can get LB to rebound, and we'll be in a good position. LeBron Nash. So not too concerned.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing is, even though you lack actual physical size, you definitely have a lot of athleticism in the front court. So what they're going to be asked to do won't be to hold a post or hold a point. If you guys have all those guards out and playing a full court game, they're going to be asked to rebound and run a lane. I think that's not going to be a real problem with guys like Tyshawn getting them the rock. So Tyshawn, you've actually gone deep in the NCAAs before. You have actually made the championship game before. You were a third-team All-American. Does your experience in knockout basketball in a March Madness type setting prepare you mentally for being in a knockout scenario where it's winner take all, winner go home?
I think it does. I think the sense of urgency comes into play right away. Understanding that, there's not another game. I think and just playing in the TBT the last couple of years, I think the TBT has stuck with me even more than the NCAA tournament, just because it's so recent and I've played in it so many times. And have been on really good teams and have had the chance to go pretty far. But all it takes is a bad half or a bad quarter or guys to not be playing together for a 2-3 minute stretch, and the game can change. And then the way that you guys had the TBT had changed the format where it's like they shut the clock off late or something like that. That even comes into play even more, the sense of urgency. Just having a game point where you actually know we got to get to 96 or 85 or whatever the point is, So, yes, I think it does help having that sense of urgency and just, being ready to come out there and play, understanding there's not a next game.
Yeah, and that was one of the questions I had teed up for Coach is just a little bit of the difference in the TBT. So the game is, technically shortened about 32 minutes plus your ELAM time. So have you had a chance to really look at some of the play from last season, or have you followed it as a fan the past few years to kind of anticipate what kind of strategy, obviously not sharing that today, that you'll be taking towards the ELAM ending times?
Yeah, I love it. I think that it's obviously unique. It's a cool thing that they have done. Like Tyshawn said, you don't want to call it street ball because it makes it sound like it's unorganized. But you get to that point. We've all been to the gym or had runs, whether it's outside courts or wherever, where you're playing to 15, win by 2, and it's you're at a point where it's 12-9. And you're down 12-9, and you know what it takes You got to grind. You got to fight your way back in. So I think that that's cool. Obviously, there's some there'll be maybe some little bit different strategy involved. I mean, depending on how many timeouts you have and those type of things. So, yeah, I've watched it. Had no idea until a couple months ago I'd even be involved in any capacity. But yeah, I think it'll be fun. And obviously, I'm way past my playing days, and even at my best, probably wouldn't have done much in this tournament. But it would be a lot of fun if I were a young man like Tyshawn and everybody else. I think that's a really cool dynamic of the tournament. Is that it?
Never say never. With the limited amount of people that can show up to the game, if something happens, injury, make sure you're ready to go.
My hamstrings are tightened up just you saying that.
I was in Philly watching Boeheim's Army with my girlfriend. She's a big Cuse fan. The second year this happened, and it was the second year or third year. I don't remember which one it was, but Lawrence Moten was the coach. He was a little older, and they were up like 20. And he took the sweatpants off and got there and played a minute. It was pretty cool. He's like, screw it. He takes off his shirt, gets out there and finishes the game. It was actually pretty cool. This question is more for Jeff, talking about recruiting, though. Speaking of older guys, you're able to get Forte out of retirement. I don't think he had been playing as much recently. And with all these athletic guys who can get up and down, as a Memphis fan, and we talk about this, like you guys tortured us that one year in the Old Spice Classic. Mark Smart went for 39. Markel went for 20. And Forte chipped in a ton of shots, providing the spacing. Does he provide an extra dimension of basically having range when he walks in the gym?
Yeah, I don't know how much playing he does nowadays. Now that he's coaching at Sam Houston State, but I don't think you ever lose that ability when it's a guy like him. So, yeah, he definitely adds a dimension because you have to guard him when he crosses half court. Yeah.
We should have went and got Keaton Page, man.
Hey, still time, right? You're not in Columbus yet. Go get him.
That boy gave me nightmares, man.
Oh, we're going to talk about nightmares in this whole thing. I'm still crying about your boy Chalmers. That's besides the point. I cry once a week over that, man. Now, you guys do have an interesting opponent you're facing, though. You're facing the team of brotherly love, the Cuse Killers. They went into Syracuse and knocked out a really good Army team. So that's no gifts in your first matchup. And Charge, just looking at this roster, really, the experience thing happens a lot where this team is heavy in TBT experience. What did you say?
Yeah, no, this team here, one of the winningest teams over the past 2 years. So they started out as Talladega Knights, and then pretty much that whole roster shifted over to Team Brotherly Love. So they're 6-2 over the past 2 years, and made the final 8 last year, the 16 the year before due to a playing game. So 3-1 both for the last 2 years, but just a depth of experience. And these are guys that aren't household names, but are just deep in talent. And I'm actually going to take the easy way out here and talk to Tyshawn about these guys, because pregame and before we started, he knows a lot of these guys and has a lot of respect for this roster. So when you were looking at this roster, Tyshawn, what really stuck out to you?
So you said they're not like where we from, like on the East Coast, Philly, Jersey, New York. A lot of these guys are like really well known. Khalif Wyatt's like a legend in Philadelphia.
Wyatt's the truth. He was a Temple. He's the truth.
No, you know what I'm saying? Like these guys, he's a bucket. You talking like Forte? He has range when he walks in. Like Khalif scores in his sleep. Like he's a guy who can score the ball at will, at his own pace. He's a great player. I loved watching him. I love playing against him and competing against him our whole lives. So he's somebody that we're definitely gonna have to pay a lot of attention to. Ramon Moore, who played last year and hit the big shot or the game-winning shot for them to beat Syracuse. Another scoring guard. The guard heavy DJ Newble, who isn't a well-known big name guy, but in Philly and on the East Coast, he's one of the better guards in the city right now. And a lot of people have been talking about him, so he's going to come with like a chip on his shoulder, and he plays overseas and is a competitor. They're all, like I said, inner city tough guys that's going to come play, and it's going to be a competitive game. And I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, I know some of these guys. So just as much as we licking our chops, they know us too. So they're looking over at our roster saying the same things, some of the same things. And so it's going to be one of those games where we're going to have to lace our boots and we're going to have to come play for sure because they are going to play tough. Like you said, they experience. They know how to win in this tournament setting. They've been practicing for like the last week, so they're gonna have an advantage on us with that, just having a little bit more camaraderie, I guess, playing together year after year. So it's gonna be a tough game, and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, you guys' tough matchup is our gain as a fan base, seeing a great game like this. I kind of want to hit the college thing though, talking a little bit about like you guys are from a really elite program, Oklahoma State, in your case, Kansas, and they're from a lot of smaller schools, Drexel, Rider, a lot of Philly schools. Does the respect angle, you think, fuel them? How are you going to make sure you counteract that? Like, I mean, these small school guys tend to play with a chip on their shoulder. Philly guys tend to play with a chip on their shoulder. Like, how are you going to rise up to sort of like make sure that you don't lose the momentum of the emotions of the moment?
Well, I know from a player's perspective, I'm sure coach will have a different, way to kind of motivate us. But from a player's perspective, you have to respect your opponent, number one. And we have to understand, we have to also kind of have a swagger about us, understanding that they know us. These are guys that we played against. Like, I played against Temple a couple times over my career. I played against Drexel a couple times. So I know these guys and have competed against these guys. And again, they know us, they know who we are, and they know Markel, they know Phil, they know me, they know LeBron. Like, he was a McDonald's All-American. Like, they know who we are as well. And so the respect is going to be given on both ends, but they will have a chip on their shoulder. They will be trying to prove something. They will be trying to show us they could have played at Oklahoma State, or they could have played at Kansas, or that they're still playing now and they're still active players now. And so it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a chippy game. It's two really guard-oriented teams that have really good guards, and it's going to be a tough game. And I'm really looking forward to it. I love competing against those guys. I'm from Jersey, so we compete against each other a lot during the summers, whether it's pickup or, just tournaments like this. So for me, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so going back to you, Coach, obviously when you look at the team, just a really balanced roster, really deep roster, ton of experience. So you have some game film from last year, I'm sure, that you'll peek at. But what are the kind of things that stick out when you initially look at this roster that you're going to need to game plan for? Or who do you think you really need to game plan for?
Well, they've got guys that can just play. And as I mentioned earlier, guys that have had consistently good careers since college. They've got versatility. Tyshawn mentioned the good guard play that they have. And like more, DJ Newbill is an excellent pickup. He plays both ends of the floor. Those guys that play both ends of the floor, like these guys do, really appreciate the game and its purity. And I think Gatson is an unbelievably tough matchup. I mean, big physical wing. When he gets downhill, he's a load. He can shoot the three, and he just makes it tough on him. He's gonna get looks. He's a guy you got to make it tough on him. So balanced roster. I mean, Givens and his experience and how well he has done, and then they've got a couple bigs that are nice pieces, mixed in there too that they can utilize. So
Forgot about Givens, man. He's tough. Him and his little brother.
Yeah, no, exactly. So this, I mean, they're way good. They know each other. They'll have that chemistry. They know how to play. They're tough. But I think that's the kind of matchup you want to go against, and see what happens. But yeah, tons of respect for these guys. I love the way they play, and they had that great run last year, and they deserved it.
Yeah, it's funny because you guys talk about the respect, and they're a team worthy of respect, and it's a really tough matchup for you guys. And I mean, OSU is known to be physical, Big 12 program. Philly guys are always physical. I mean, it's going to be a football game. And Tyshawn, you went to Kansas, so football is a sport that's played before basketball, and they have 11 guys, and they tackle. They don't play it at Kansas, I think, but it's familiar in America. You should read up about it. But talking to you guys, how are you guys going to rise up this physicality? You guys have a physical squad, but how are you going to kind of keep this deep roster from getting into your body and using your speed against them?
Well, for me, getting up and down, that's where I am at my best. So, for us guards, myself, Markel, I think if we rebound the ball and can, get out in transition, I think that's going to give us an advantage. I know for them as well, they're going to want to play in transition some as well. But I know for us, that's an advantage. So yeah, man, I think we gotta kind of, keep the pace of the game up. and we just gotta lock in on, like Coach said, on both ends of the floor. We gotta play both ends of the floor. Our guards have to be, tough. Got to be good rebounders, and we gotta defend. Yeah, we gotta defend. You're not winning this tournament unless you get stops.
Hey, real quick, before we go any further, I just realized something. We'll take the slide off for a second because one of our guests just got here. What's up, Markel? Can we get him unmuted?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Hey, welcome to the show. We were talking about the fact that
man, sorry about that.
Ain't no thing, no worries. We were talking about the physical matchup. We're actually getting pretty close to the end. You didn't get a chance to torch him about that 20 you put down on Memphis in 2013 we were talking about.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, no, man. Yeah, I'm just excited to be able to play in the TBT. We got a very tough first matchup, but, man, you got to embrace those type of matchups for the first game. It's going to test us, but I think we'll be ready for it.
Yeah, so Markel, you said you're excited for the TBT, obviously, and I know prior years you were set to play with, I think, Eberline one year and Loyalty is Love another year, and scheduling conflicts wasn't able to do it. So this year it looks like to be full go. We fully expect to see you there, correct?
Yeah, I'll be there with Eberline and with the Marcus Cousins team. I was coming off injuries, so
okay.
I wasn't able to actually play. I had to fall out of the tournament, but this year is looking pretty good for me, and I'm excited. I'm ready.
Yeah, you got to be ready, too. So it's a really, really, really tough matchup. We were talking earlier about you and Tyshawn and Forte and Nash and all these guys adding a really great roster together. With there being one ball, like, how do you guys think you're going to be able to get enough shots around to keep the ball moving?
Like Tyshawn said, we want to be able to push the pace. And if we can push the pace, we got to do that with rebounding. But if we can play defense and push the pace, I think it'll be a lot of shots to go around for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, and so the familiarity obviously goes a long way, with your Oklahoma State guys. There's going to be a lot of that there, and then bringing in Tyshawn. Now, have you guys played together before?
No, we never have.
On the team, so you'll get familiar with each other? Okay.
Right.
Fantastic. Yeah, and you mentioned the toughness of this team brotherly love. What's really cool is it looks like you and Tyshawn are both students of the game, looking at that brotherly love roster, having a lot of respect for it. And I think Tyshawn learned a little bit last year playing sideline. You can't go into any game, expecting to win or it's a lower seed. But this 12 versus 21, I had to dig a little on that one. But this 12-21 matchup just looks amazing. So seeing you guys as a 21, does that catch you off guard a little bit? And what's the TBT selection committee missing about this team?
I think it is tough looking at it because those guys, our GM, Shirley and Barr, they did a great job of putting together a great group of guys. And just the overall talent that we have on this team. We got a lot of winners on this team. We did a good job of picking up Tyshawn and Nadir. And man, it's just
okay, guys, real quick.
I thought they did
go ahead.
a really good job of
Really good job of what? Finish your thought, man.
creating this roster.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all good.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I thought you were done, so I cut you off. You're still talking.
Yeah.
Markel and Tyshawn, real quick, just settle something for me. Better barbecue, Oklahoma or Kansas? I'm just curious.
Man,
Probably Kansas.
okay. I didn't want to jump out the window and say that, but you said it first. So yeah, Kansas City got some good BBQ, man. I'm not gonna lie.
So one thing too, a lot of fans of this tournament are a lot of East Coast and a lot of Big Ten guys. I'm actually both. I'm a Big Ten guy. I went to Illinois for my master's, and I'm also live in New York. So the basketball establishment of this tournament tends to be very Big Ten driven, very East Coast driven. It's interesting always to see some heartland teams in it. What's the rest of America missing out when they consider the Big 12 a basketball conference and don't respect the fact it's an elite hoops conference?
Well, from my perspective, if they I don't know what they would be missing. I don't know what they would be missing. But I also, from a competitive perspective, just playing against the Oklahoma States and the Missouris and the K-States and the Texas A&Ms and the Texas Techs and having to play against those schools like that aren't that don't seem like, I guess, the best basketball schools. But when you have to go to, Oklahoma State on a Saturday afternoon and play there in front of however many fans they hold, and, like, that's a tough matchup. That's not – nobody's going to just go in there and, like, run over those guys. That's a tough matchup always. So it's like, I mean, like, again, I think it's the best basketball conference in the country, if not, top 2 or 3. But in my eyes, I think it's the best. It's the best one from top to top because you just never know. You just never know what you're gonna get every night.
Hey, I'll step in there real quick. The Big 12 top to bottom for the last 6 or 7 years has been the best league in the country. And sometimes it's not necessarily top heavy. Obviously, Kansas with their incredible run they've had, but there's no dogs. And Tyshawn's right. I mean, you play home and home. True home and home series. So it's obviously I'm biased, but I think you can ask Fran Fraschilla. I mean, it prepared Tyshawn, it prepared Markel to move on along with the great coaches and environments they were in to have the careers that they've had. I mean, because you got to play every night.
All right, well, fantastic. Hey, first of all, we appreciate you jumping on, Markel, Tyshawn. I know you guys are busy training and taking care of business, so I appreciate you guys getting on. And just want to get closing comments from all you guys real quick. And I'll start with you, Jeff, as the GM, put this squad together. So what should fans expect from Oklahoma State basketball, and any closing thoughts you want to leave with the listeners?
Yeah, I think they should expect a team that's going to play hard, represent the university well. And I think we're all just excited to be together in Columbus and, have fun like we used to. And, yeah, we're excited to get there.
Yeah, I think we're all excited for this roster, too. Coach Manzer, thanks for coming on. Obviously, really great coaching job you have in front of you. What kind of style of play can the casual fan expect out of the Stillwater Stars? How are you going to engage and get the people on TV behind you in your corner?
Well, I'd say, first of all, we got a lot of nice pieces. And again, the two guys on here with us on here right now, they've spent time in the NBA. We're going to play fast and play to those strengths, but our bigs can run the floor. But, I'm also excited because I know this roster and they value the defensive end. And everybody says that they do, but it's also not as fun for a lot of people. I think that these guys appreciate it. And so you're going to see that out of us. And as Oklahoma State guys, we're really happy to have Tyshawn and Nadir. I mean, they make us even better. And I think they're going to fit in great, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm excited to get you into TBT this year, Markel. We were talking about earlier, a couple of years, saw your name on the roster, was excited. Unfortunately, injury didn't allow you to play. So what are you most looking forward to in TBT 2020 and playing with the Oklahoma State team?
I'm looking forward to playing with, like, former teammates who I played with in Oklahoma State, and also the guys I played against when I was there, guys like Tyshawn and Nadir. I'm just excited to get back out there on the court and be able to compete at a high level.
And Tyshawn, my closing ask for you is your share of the $1 million. Are you going to finally buy Kansas a decent football team?
I'm going to stay away from the football jokes. I got a sensitive history with Kansas football.
Oh, hang on. Whoa. There's something there. What do you mean you have a sensitive history of Kansas football? Hang on. What's going on here?
Yeah, man. I got a sensitive history with the football guys over there at Kansas. But best of luck to them. I know they got a new coach last year, and, best of luck to the football team at Kansas. I hope they get it together, get better. But I'm excited to play in the TBT. I'm excited that these guys, gave me and Nadir the opportunity to join their really good team already. So I'm looking forward to, meeting up with these guys, getting in the gym with them and actually getting after it for a couple of days before we can play. I'm excited that we get to play basketball and the world get to watch it. This is the first basketball game that's going to be played on TV in a while. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to just kind of give the world something else to watch on TV right now, I guess. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. And just to play ball, man, just to actually get out the house, compete, like you said, at a high level and just give myself a chance to win some money.
Yeah, and I think that's a great spot to close. I think you framed it up nicely with, you're itching to get back out there and play. I'm sure coaches want to get out there and coach. The GMs want to see that team they put together. Fans, we're dying to watch some basketball. It's been way too long. We missed out on March Madness. NBA's on hold or coming back really soon. So really excited to see it. But yeah, so we're hitting the TBT starting July 4th, and I can't recall if you guys are the 4th or the 5th for your game, but this 12 versus 21 matchup against Team Brotherly Love is going to be a slugfest. It's going to be a fun game to watch. So I appreciate all you guys taking time out and joining Zoom the TBT podcast tonight. And you guys have a great night. Appreciate you.
See you guys soon. Stay safe over there.
Appreciate
Thanks
you.
for having us.